This week on the show.
So I was in there one time and I happened to see that they had this food art photography exhibit. And it was all these like animals made out of food, and it was really cute. And I said, oh my God, this is amazing. I never saw anything like this before. And I was like, this is so cool.
Harley Langberg.
I said, I gotta try to do this. Like, I've never seen anything like this. I don't even know if I'm really artistic, but I'll give it a shot. So that night, I actually went and got an eggplant. I got some turnip, I got some ingredients, and I did one of my favorite artists, street artist, Banksy.
From Arley's Food Art. An Instagram account with 35,000 plus followers.
Created the Instagram for Harley's Food Art.
Wow.
In preparation for this fashion food art partnership, which was in the fall later that year. Then I started posting it there, and then it, as I started working with more of these companies that had these big followings, then my following grew, and and then here I am several years later, I'm almost at 40,000, and it's exciting.
Let's talk to Harley's Food Art on the Very Creative Podcast. Harley's Food Art, how's it going?
It's going well. Enjoying this beautiful snowy day.
Yeah, is it snowing in New York? It is, in New York,
yeah.
Right? Yeah?
It's snowing, and I love the snow, so I can't complain.
Yeah. Well, it's not snowing in Montreal, but it's cold. It's really cold.
Yeah, I heard it gets pretty cold there.
yeah. It's have you been to Montreal during the winter?
I have a long time ago, but I'd love to go back. It's a beautiful city, as you know.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love New York too. It's just my favorite city. I miss Broadway so much.
Me too.
Are you a fan?
Well, yeah, and with COVID, they closed everything, obviously, and we don't know when it's going to reopen, but hopefully soon. Right.
Yeah. So introduce yourself to everyone.
Yeah. So I'm Harley Langberg, founder of Harley's Food Art, and I've been creating food art for the past 7 years.
Right.
And I've had this Instagram for about 6 years. And what I do is I create edible images of art using a broad range of ingredients. And I've done everything from pop culture, celebrities, to animated characters, landscapes, holidays, you name it, I've done it. And I probably use every single ingredient you could think of. Yeah. Everything from squid, octopus, cereal, Oreos, the whole gamut.
Wow. Yeah, I saw a lot of Disney characters, which I love. I'm a big Disney fan, so I was pleased to see that. Yeah.
I love doing the Disney characters. I've done them several times in different, various different styles, and they're just fun to create all the colors and the textures and incorporate that into food.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite Disney character that you've done?
Let me see. I've done so many. I really loved the Mufasa that I've done, using mashed potatoes and bacon. And that was really fun because I used a lot of bacon. The bacon was really good.
Yeah.
Let's see. I've done several of the characters from Coco. Those were really, I love those.
I saw those. And, I love those.
The characters were so detailed, so it was really fun capturing all those details in food. Yeah. I've done so many, but those probably are my favorites, among my favorites.
Yeah. So talk a bit about, before we talk about your food art and awesome it is, talk a bit about how you grew up. Where did you grow up? And did you always have this love for food and art, or where did that took place?
Yeah, so I grew up in New York City, and I was surrounded by museums and galleries. So I always loved art from an early age, and my parents were really into it. So in school I took art history classes, and I was just always so into art. And I carried that all the way even through college.
Right.
But never really practicing art or trying it on my own, really just, admiring it and loving the art history, and also then getting into more contemporary art and really appreciating mixed media.
What has been your relationship with food when you were a kid, and how has that evolved into your art?
So I grew up really being an adventurous eater, a picky eater, because I wasn't the type of kid who just liked, to eat like fast food and, things. I really liked the fresh ingredients, even from a young age, and, exotic ingredients. So, my parents remind me that I often had duck for breakfast. They're like, who are you? But that was who I was. I just really appreciated that kind of food at a young age. Right. And, maybe it's growing up in New York City. Maybe it's, just being fortunate to have parents who could introduce me, to these really nice places. But I just always loved food, and whether it's cooking or creating or eating out, dining in, it's stuck with me ever since. I grew up cooking at age 5, and it's something that I've always been so passionate about. So food art is really a blend of both those passions of mine, art and food. And, it's great because I could really combine both. And essentially what I'm creating is mixed media. So it's really something that I really get to enjoy. I started doing it about 7 years ago, and I loved it, and I'm still doing it to this day. And I almost went the route of pursuing a culinary career. But ultimately I decided against it. And I went into the financial world.
Okay. And you're still working in the financial world? Oh, awesome. Are you enjoying that, or do you
I am, yeah. So I studied economics in college, and, I've always loved business and numbers. So, that's what I'll do for a long time, but I just love having this, side hustle, outlet for my creativity. And, as much as I love food art, there's only so much that I can make of it income wise. So, I have to have a profession to be able to supplement its income.
Yeah. Well, if you love your job and everything, that's great. I know I'm creative, and I can't see myself doing anything but creativity in my life, and I want it to pay my bills. I want everything. So it's interesting to hear that you have a day job and you're making that on the side. How do you find that?
It's actually, I talked to several friends, who I've met through this Instagram community of food artists and chefs, and it's more common than you would think. There's all these teachers, and there's some lawyers who are also food people on the side. So when you have these small businesses, it's hard to make it a full-time thing. But on the other hand, for someone like me, and for a lot of them, you're so passionate about your main job, but it's great to have a hobby like this. I'm not a huge TV person. Okay. I'm not a big reader. So this is what I like to do. This is my hobby. So it's almost like, just, playing a sport or watching TV, this is just what I like to do to relax. Yeah. Essentially. And I'm lucky because, I've been able to build it up and, make some nice income from it, and get some good press and build it up over the years.
Nothing stays buried forever, especially not the past.
Yesterday is Not Yet Gone, a mystery novel by Gabriel Veiga, host of the Very Creative Podcast. Available now, paperback and digital. GabrielVeiga.com. Buy it now.
So let's talk about how it started. What was your did it just happen to
so it's
in your mind
story.
Or?
So I was living at the time down in the West Village meatpacking area, and I would often go to this place called Chelsea Market, which was this beautiful indoor market with restaurants, food, and they would often have these art exhibits along the walls of the market, usually photography, but sometimes sculptural. So I was in there one time and I happened to see that they had this food art photography exhibit. And it was all these like animals made out of food, and it was really cute. And I said, oh my God, this is amazing. I never saw anything like this before. So I must have like stared at each picture for at least 20 minutes, like, seeing how they made it and all the ingredients and trying to guess. And I was like, this is so cool. So actually I was in the market already. I said, I got to try to do this. Like, I've never seen anything like this. I don't even know if I'm really artistic, but I'll give it a shot. So that night I actually went and got an eggplant. I got some turnip. I got some ingredients. And I did one of my favorite artists, street artists, Banksy. So I did a Banksy piece in food art. Yeah. I thought it came out really cool. I had no idea what I was doing, but and then I posted it on my personal Facebook, and people said, "Whoa, this is really cool." So then one thing led to another, and it took off. But that was how it all began, just in this market, seeing this photography exhibit.
So you did it, and then you posted it on Facebook. And when did your Facebook blow up, or did you? Well,
so I posted it on Facebook, and then I started to continue to post things on my personal Facebook.
Okay.
And then I can't remember exactly how, but somehow someone found out about it, and I was contacted by Refinery 29.
Oh wow.
And they reached out to me and they said, we found out about your food art. I don't know how, because it was a private page. And we'd love to do something with you for Fashion Week, where, we'll commission you to do 5 different portraits of, fashion figures. And so at that point I said, I really need to create my own Instagram. I can't not have any presence there and just have my food art on my personal page.
Right.
So it was at that point, which was 2014, 2014, that I created the Instagram for Harley's food art.
Wow.
In preparation for this fashion food art partnership, which was in the fall later that year. So then I started posting it there, and then it, as I started working with more of these companies that had these big followings, then my following grew. And, and then here I am several years later, I'm almost at 40,000, and, it's exciting.
Yeah. I didn't know that it was that long of a time. I wanted to get a food artist on this podcast, and I was like, searching, and I found you. I was like, oh, this is amazing. And,
well, I always tell people, cause when I first got into food art, it really wasn't a big thing. I mean, it really wasn't. There were very few food artists doing what I was doing. And, I kind of like to say I'm like part of the OG group of food artists. And then now there's this whole birth of all these food artists in all different styles. There's the people that carve the bananas. There's the people that do the pancake art. So everyone has their niche.
Right.
But I'm glad you chose me, and I'm honored to be on your podcast. And I enjoy being part of this like original group, food artists, because it was just emerging, back in 2013 when I started this.
Yeah, I told my friend that, I got this food guy on the podcast. He said yes, and she was like, I know him. I follow him. I see it all the time on my feed. So I was like, oh, great, that's awesome. Did you expect it to get that big? Is there a specific project that got really big fast?
So I remember early on, I did something for MTV,
right?
And they have and still have a huge following. I did a portrait of Madonna for her birthday,
right?
And they featured it, and then little by little, I was featured by Complex, and then I started working with Billboard, and then Food Network, and all these brands. So I didn't realize how big it was getting, but I did start to learn Instagram and realize that the more I was featured, the bigger my following would get.
That's interesting.
And then I didn't expect to get verified, and get the famous blue check that everyone talks about.
You didn't request it, you just got it.
Well, it was funny because, I really don't know what I'm doing, but I was at a dinner with some friends, and a friend of a friend was like, well, why don't you have a blue check? I'm like, what blue check? I'm like, what do you mean? I didn't even know what it was. And he's like, well, you should try to get it, like request it. So I said, how do I do that? So he showed me how to do it. And then literally like a week later, I got it. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Cool. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, but this is exciting.
Yeah. So the Madonna got big and coverage from all these news
media. So it was the
Yeah.
Madonna, it was Complex. And then I started progressively, progressively and actively reaching out to brands to contact them, to work with them, and then also reaching out to people with press. So part of my financial job is like sales oriented. So I'd like to say I'm good at contacting people and being that annoying person, like getting that answer after multiple times and being persistent.
Right.
So I started building up my press. So then I got featured by all these different people, from Huffington Post to BuzzFeed. So all of that, coupled with the brand partnerships, helped catapult me, into getting more well known. And maybe all of that led to the blue check, because I was starting to have a pretty good sized public presence, that was really exciting. Just having that kind of press and that recognition was very exciting for me.
Yeah. So you didn't do it, from what I understand, because some people are like, look at all these Instagrams that are like getting a big following and they're doing something original. You weren't that kind of guy that just wanted to do a something for Instagram to get a big following and get popular.
No, in the end of the day, I still do food art first for me, because and that's probably why, I maybe didn't grow as quickly as I did, or, don't have as big of a following as I could have, because, I like to keep my subjects broad. I'm not just going to be a Disney account, and there are those accounts and those are great, but I wanted to really do everything from the cute Disney characters to Pennywise, like the whole gamut, and all different styles. And I think that there's a lot of people who like that versatility and that diversity, versus just being, centered on one theme. Yeah. But in the end of the day, if there's a beautiful landscape I see, I want to create that in food art. People have often requested things and sometimes I'll take them, but in the end of the day, this is, my time, my money, and I want to be able to do what I want to do, because first and foremost, this is my relaxation from, what I do. And, people like it, that's great. If they don't, then they don't. I do remember early on, I did get a lot of hate.
Oh, really?
Came out for that Refinery 29 partnership. And that was the first time I was like, oh my God. It sounded like I was like killing people, like the way people were talking about this. But then there was like 80 to 90% positive and only like maybe 10% to 15 negative. So,
was it a specific post or?
It was just, there's these people online who, no matter what you're doing, they'll just say something negative, and it's just their prerogative. So, at first I was like kind of hurt. And then, I was talking to my brother-in-law, not at the time brother-in-law, but he was like, the fact that people are saying something is really great. Whether it's negative or positive, people are talking about your food art. That's the important thing. And I said,
bad press is good press. So,
better to have something talked about than just people not even paying it attention. So he had a good point. Very wise, my brother-in-law. Yeah.
Do you still get a lot of, is it mostly positive now?
Yeah, it's mostly positive. It's definitely mostly positive. And I think, as I mentioned, it was still something that a lot of people weren't doing. So it really wasn't seen a lot of places. Yeah. But now it's become a lot more present. A lot of these big brands are using these food artists for marketing campaigns. Yeah. And, you look at, for example, Pret a Manger, the big, breakfast sandwich group. They have ads of food art, or like Fresh Direct. So people are really, taking this to the next level in terms of marketing with these big companies, utilizing food art, for creative means.
Yeah. So 2014 is when you started, right?
2013 is when I technically started, but 2014 is when I started the Instagram.
Yeah. So what has changed since then? Are you still doing it for the same reason?
I'm still doing it for the same reason. I definitely noticed that I've gotten a lot better, since my first one. I'm like, oh my God, that's what I did. Ooh, people like that.
Yeah.
And also my picture taking skills have gotten better. I'm now doing videos. I never did videos before, and I'm still doing it for the same reason, but I'm a little more into the followers now, than when I first started. And, when it grows up, it's obviously very exciting. And I've actually...
It's hard not to, though.
I know.
I'm sure.
I know. And I've actually, I'm part of this food art community where I've met so many other talented people, and we support each other. And that's what's been really great, because you hear, so much of the negativity about social media, but there is a lot of positivity and encouragement of people, bonding, friendships, friendships of people you never met, but you've met them virtually, and you've, supported them, they've supported you. And that's been really great to see. So, I'm very happy about that aspect.
Yeah, that's great. So talk a bit about your process. How, when you pick a project, how do you pick it, and how do you start making it?
So if it's not a commission, and if it's just something that I want to do, I generally rotate between, the subjects we went over, either like a fun animated character or a celebrity. And how I choose it is I usually try to do, a celebrity for their birthday, whether they're here with us or they've passed away. Or if I want to do, something around the holidays, I'll do a fun holiday piece, for that holiday. And if it's just like an animated character or an animal, I'll just do those whenever. Right. And essentially I always work from a photo. So I have the photo as reference, and I'll essentially take that photo to the grocery store, and I'm like in the produce aisle, running around. People are looking at me giving me weird looks, and I'm trying to match up the colors to the ingredients that I want to get. I'm like there with my phone, and looking like a madman, but that's my process. That's been my process from day one to now. Yeah. And I don't sketch it. I just go for it. I have my cutting board, my knife, my white plate, and my toothpicks. That's it. Yeah. And when you do put it on the plate, the final thing that we see, what's the process to do that? You just do it, or according to the photo, I'll create the piece in the kitchen on the plate. Then when I'm finished with the piece, I'll bring it over to an area in my apartment with a lot of sunlight to be photographed. Okay. I really like to photograph it in natural sunlight, as opposed to artificial light. Okay. Right. And that's when I'll take the photo, I'll do some minor edits on the phone, and that photo will then be posted to Instagram. Right. Okay. Yeah. Is there one art that you found, one food art that you found harder than anything? What's the worst, or the artist that you've made? Oh yeah, let's see. There was this one piece that I did, which was, so I often pay homage to a lot of different artists by recreating their pieces in food. Right. So I found this amazing Brazilian artist who worked in felt, and her pieces she was featured by Instagram, and she's, a very well-established artist. Yeah. And her pieces were super intricate, like lots of colors, lots of details, textures, because she layers felt on top of felt and creates these like just magnificent pieces. So I decided to use, I got sent these beautiful boards from this company out in Vermont that I sometimes do pieces on. They're larger than the plate, so they're more for larger scale pieces. Right. Not super large, but like, it's like a little, maybe double the size of the plate if you took two of the standard square plates and combined them.
Okay.
Anyway, so that piece took me, several hours to complete because there was just so much detail and I wanted to capture everything. And I really liked the challenge of it. But, usually I like to do these pieces, in and out, where I don't invest so much time. But this one I did on a weekend and I was happy to put in the time. And it came out really great, but it was just, it was a lot, trying to recreate her art in food. So, and she did reach out to me because I tagged her and she was like, "This is so cool." Yeah. She reposted it.
That's awesome. Well, it was, you put the effort and then it was fulfilling because you got it was a win. But are you sometimes, does it feel like, because now you have a following and you have all these people knowing that you're going to post each week, do you feel sometimes that it's work or is it just a hobby and fun for you?
No, because I don't look at it where like, oh my God, I have to post this day, or like I'll go a week and oh my God, I didn't post.
Really? Cool.
Yeah. I realized like I'm not going to, gain a ton of followers because I'm not posting every day. I'm fine with that. I want to post when I want to post. Right. I want to do food art when I want to do food art. I don't look at it like, oh, it's Wednesday, I have to post now, or
you don't have a schedule.
I don't have a schedule. I mean, the only schedule and the only regimen I have is when I have a commission, because that obviously requires that deadline and everything. But if it's just me, if I'm free that morning, I often do these before work. So I wake up very early to do these. So I'll say, you know what, if I really want to do it tomorrow, I'll do it, or maybe I won't do it, And sometimes I'll buy the ingredients thinking I want to do it. And then I don't wake up, I'm sleeping. So I just do it another day. Yeah. So it's kind of loose and that's how I like it.
Yeah. Do you feel when you go to work and you're still thinking about it, or does your mindset change?
No, I'm pretty much done with it. It actually, in a way, gives me the energy to start the workday because it's like I know that I've accomplished something, in the morning, and I'm like ready to go. Some people, they work out. I also work out, but this is something where I do it, I post it, and then I'm good to go the rest of the day. And then, in the night, that's when I'll respond back to followers and engage with them.
Yeah. So do you want to look at a couple of your food art and tell us what went into that?
Sure. Do you want me to just pull it up on my phone, or?
I have a couple favorites.
Oh, yeah, sure. You can pull it up.
Can share the screen. Yeah.
Nothing stays buried forever, especially not the past.
Yesterday is Not Yet Gone, a mystery novel by Gabriel Veiga, host of the Very Creative Podcast. Available now, paperback and digital. GabrielVeiga.com. Buy it now.
So Baby Groot.
So this was one of my favorite pieces because it was literally one of the most tasty pieces I've ever done. I made this using a short rib that I braised for several hours. And I know later that night, my husband and I made these short rib tacos and they were awesome. So he was like, "Can you make Baby Groot again?" I'm like, "These tacos were amazing." I'm like, "I don't know. We'll see."
Yeah.
So this one I made using the short rib. And then for the green part, that's just sliced scallions. The eyes are eggplant, turnip, and I think I used a little bit of apple or a nectarine for the red part.
Okay. Oh, great. I'm glad it was tasty.
Oh, yeah. They're not all that tasty, but that one, now I'm getting hungry again. I want to make that.
Yeah. How about this one?
Yeah, Sad from Inside Out. I really like this one. I really enjoyed because, this one was all about the expression. So I started actually getting into mashed potatoes, a couple years ago, and sculpting them to be able to bring more life to the pieces.
Right.
So what I do is I will make the mashed potatoes and then I'll dye the mashed potatoes. So here I dyed it with blue food coloring, and same with the pasta. I cook the pasta and then I dye the pasta. And then the rest of it is just turnip and purple cabbage and a little bit of eggplant for the eyes. But this was fun because this one was really all about the expression, and I think I succeeded here with that.
Yeah. Do you get kids to after they see that? You get kids request?
Well, a lot of my followers tell me, "Oh my God, I showed it to my kids and they loved it," and they're like, "Oh my God, I know who that character is." So that is a very big compliment because I love when my pieces are recognizable. Whether it's a Disney character or a celebrity, I just want them to say like, I know who that is. So yeah, it's fun to hear from the kids. And I have my own child and I'm hoping she appreciates food art one day, maybe creates it with me.
Awesome. Right. I only have Disney characters, but do you have a celebrity that you really like?
Yeah. So I did a Ruth Bader Ginsburg one. That was one that was really important to me because obviously she was such an amazing woman and such an inspiration.
Right.
And I did this one a couple years ago, but I reposted it. And I'll often do a piece or repost a piece when someone passes away. That's a celebrity. So this is what I did. I reposted it. And this one, I often use eggplant. The skin of the eggplant creates this beautiful black, shiny texture. And that's what I created her coat with, along with some rice noodles, mashed potatoes, and some red potato and some pasta for the hair.
Right.
So this was an important piece for me. I was, being able to create such an inspirational woman in food, was a big deal for me.
Right. It's awesome. Yeah. Is there another one?
Yeah. Let's see. If you go down, it's hard to believe I've done so many pieces over the years. It's just, I lose sight of it. And then I look back and like,
Lin-Manuel Miranda. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see what else. So this was one of my favorites, The Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very happy with this one.
Right.
Because again, it's all about the eyes, and something that I didn't do so much early on was really nail the eyes and capture the expression. And as time went on, I feel like I really honed in on those skills of really capturing the expression in the eyes. And I think this one really sums that up. So the hair is pasta. I often use pasta for the hair, and I'll dye the pasta. So here I dyed it black.
Nice. Yeah. What's the rest? So
the rest is mashed potatoes. And then the shirt is turnip. I often use turnip for anything white in the piece. And I love using purple cabbage. And, of course, Purple Rain, I had to incorporate something purple for a prince. So I incorporated the purple cabbage.
Right. Cool.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Yeah. One last one.
Okay. Let's see. What do we got?
Let me know if you want to go up too. We can do that.
Okay. Yeah, this one I really liked. So the Salvador Dali. So I love creating black and white pieces. Right. I think it's just like a cool look. And, here I created one of my favorite artists, Salvador Dali. And he has such a distinct look. So I often I won't do any celebrity, but I'll do someone that has like a very unique appearance where it's that person. So here, this is like the most famous image of Salvador Dali, that's kind of a little bit on profile with his famous mustache flared up. And I just dyed the potatoes with a little bit of black food coloring to get that gray color, and then just use some black colored pasta, some eggplant, and turnip. That's it. So this one really had very limited ingredients, but I feel sometimes when I use less ingredients, it's even more powerful and impactful, like it is here.
Yeah. You must eat a lot of potatoes.
Yeah. So I try not to eat too many carbs, because I am trying to keep somewhat of a good body here. But what I do is I'll often use the potato skins and crisp those up in the oven. So it's less carbs, but I'm not really wasting the whole potato. Right. And I love the crispy potato skins. Those are really great.
Yeah. I have to ask about Ursula because my mom is a big fan of her. So,
Okay.
let's see. All right.
So this is the Ursula one that I did, and I really enjoyed this one in particular because sometimes I really like to use ingredients that are not so common. And here I use these white enoki mushrooms that I thought were so perfect for her hair, and created like a little bit of a different texture because I normally use pasta.
Right.
So I really love the look, even with the little mushroom tops at the end.
Yeah.
I thought it looked super cool. And then, of course, for the rest of it, I use my standard mashed potatoes that I dyed, some red pepper for the lips, some turnip and apple, and a little bit of eggplant detailing for the eyes. And then I think that's it. And then the rest is just, mashed potato.
Wow.
That was another fun one.
Yeah. It's really fascinating because, it looks almost like a painting and it's really,
Thank you.
It's fascinating how you do it. Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing that I wish, I could do is, like actually have a real exhibit of the actual pieces because as much as I love the photos, and that's why I got into the videos, sometimes you don't get to see and really appreciate the textures of the pieces because when you see it in person, it's like 3D, but when you take a photo, it's really 2D.
Right.
So it would be great one day to, have an exhibit. And sometimes, when I have people come over, I'll have the food art piece and they're like, oh my God, I never realized how sculptural it was, because you don't really see that on the image. But, Instagram is really about the photos. But now I'm getting into video, so you can get a little bit more dimension with the videos. Yeah.
Do you share with people your process through those videos or?
So I started doing time-lapse videos,
right.
And essentially it's really like my process video where I'll just create the piece from scratch. I'll have some pieces that I've already pre-cut, just in the essence of time. And I'll just put the piece together on the video, and it's been fun. And video is very big now. Whenever I work with these brands, they're like, "Oh, we don't want photos. We just want videos." So,
the brands. Oh, cool. Yeah. So, have you done a celebrity that is actually alive that has reposted it or anything?
Oh yeah, let me see.
You wish.
That hasn't. Yeah, it hasn't. Oh, actually, no, that's not true. I've done. Okay, so this was obviously a big deal.
Yeah.
I was approached by one of my favorite Food Network chefs, who's like the OG of the Food Network. I don't know if you heard of her, Sunny Anderson. Yeah. She's got multiple shows on the Food Network, and I really grew up watching her. Yeah. So I started tagging her on Instagram, and you can tag anyone. It doesn't mean they're going to respond back, but she did, and she started liking them and commenting.
Wow.
And then she reached out to me to create her portrait in food for the Food Network magazine. Okay. And she was leading and the guest editor of the biggest magazine, the Thanksgiving issue. And actually, if you have my Instagram, I can pull it up on there. Sure. So, of course, she reposted it. And this was probably, in all my features, my favorite one that I've ever had because, the Food Network to me is life. I don't watch TV, but
was it down
I'm
there?
huge. It was, let's see. If you scroll to the right, you'll see the still image, but that's Sunny.
Right.
Yeah. And she loved the piece, and it was like amazing to see it in the magazine, and I have it hanging in my room, framed. So I was very proud of this, to be able to do someone that I've looked up and admired to have her appreciate my food art. And for me to be in this huge magazine was a big deal. So I was really happy with this. And of course, you'll see my traditional ingredients. I use the potatoes, the pasta, the eggplant, the turnip.
A lot of potatoes.
A lot of potato. But I did add a special touch in there, the purple cauliflower earrings, which she really appreciated.
Yeah. So do you have a favorite that you've made that you've not talked about?
Let's see. A favorite that I've made. So I would say one of my favorites that I've made actually was not an animated character. It was not a celebrity, but it was a recreation of a piece that I saw of this beautiful print of an orca and this woman in a boat. And it was just such a beautiful image that I wanted to recreate that in food. So that was my favorite piece that I've done.
Right.
And I created the orca using eggplant and turnip, and it was very sculptural. But I mean, it's hard to say I have a favorite because I have so many favorites.
Yeah.
Definitely the Mufasa that I mentioned, using the crispy bacon, that was definitely up there with my favorites as well.
Yeah. When it's harder to do, when it's more of a challenge, do you feel like it's more fulfilling for you when you get it right? Do you feel like those become more of your favorites?
Well, yes. And of course, I love seeing the likes and comments, and,
yeah,
Mufasa was definitely one of the ones that got like in my top 5 ever, most likes and most comment, most engaged. So, that's always a nice feeling to know, that people really, that there was a really good response from it. Right. But of course, when it is more challenging, or when I can really get creative with the ingredients and not just use potatoes, eggplant, and turnip, but really throw something in there. Like this one time I used a whole octopus. I mean, literally a whole octopus, raw. I mean, it was crazy.
Jesus.
And people were like, wow, you made that octopus so real. And I was like, but it is real. Yeah. And I think they were confused because they thought like I made that octopus out of another ingredient, but it was the whole octopus right on that plate. And it was actually a really cool piece. It was like an octopus attacking a Viking ship.
Yeah.
Or pirate ship. And it was a cool piece. And actually tomorrow I've got a similar concept that I'm doing. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you're following me, so you'll see it. Yeah.
Great. Awesome. I can't wait to see it. Yeah. Do you have a character that you really want to do in the future, or a celebrity, or what's your plan?
Yeah. So I just kind of take it one day at a time. And, I feel like I've almost exhausted my celebrity and animated character list, because I'm now like doing the same characters, but just in different ingredients. So who knows? But I'll probably, do well. What I want to do more is I'm trying to get more into landscapes, and doing various like cityscapes. So I'm taking a little bit of a different direction, and I'm trying to do more like travel through food art, because it's a pandemic and we can't travel. That's so doing various places that I've either been to or I've wanted to go to, but in food.
Right. Where do you want to go to?
Anywhere at this point.
Yeah.
But, I'll do like places in Italy or Greece or Asia,
right.
Various cities, and they're so beautiful. I'll find these amazing pictures. And, I started doing that a couple months ago. I did Morocco. No, not Morocco. Sorry. I did Istanbul. Okay. And that was really cool.
Beautiful city. Beautiful city. Yeah.
I did, the temples, and I had all the details on there. Earlier last year, I did Greece, which was really cool because I did this whole beautiful Grecian scene with the pink flowers and the water and, all the white and blue that you would traditionally see in Greece.
Yeah.
So those, I like to try to do different things and not just do the same things. As I mentioned in the beginning, I like to keep it really diverse, and it's not always going to be well received, but you're not going to be bored on my Instagram. I like to keep it fun. I like to switch things up, and it may look like I'm running in a bunch of different directions, but that's part of the fun of it. You're not going to see the same things, being posted over and over again. So.
Yeah, and it feels like you're really enjoying it, and like you said at the beginning, you're doing it not for the following, and you're doing it because it's your hobby and it's fun for you and it's enjoyable, right? So, yeah, it just seems like you're happy doing it, and it's relaxation.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's I'm gonna do it till I develop arthritis, so I've got a lot of years.
Yeah. All right. What's your favorite food?
My favorite food.
You like to eat?
Ooh, that's a tricky one. Well, I love shrimp. Shrimp is something I cook a couple of nights a week. I love shrimp, and I love chicken. I mean, I love so many different foods, but I've always loved shrimp and chicken, and I'll make different cuisines. So when I do like a Mexican cuisine, a Chinese, I cook Indian. So I like to cook all these different.
Very diverse.
cuisines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your least favorite food now?
Ooh,
Potatoes.
my least favorite food. Let's see. I'm not really a fan of really anything like creamy, or like I hate mayonnaise, even though it's not creamy. Anything kind of like that consistency, I'm just not a fan of.
Yeah.
So I'm very particular when I go out to a restaurant. I'm like, it can't have any cream and no mayo. Like I'm not like a big. It just kind of like upsets my stomach. But I just generally like things that are more like simply grilled or like with spices, and more about the actual meat versus the sauce, so to say.
All right. So the feel good game. I'm going to start with your feel good food. You talked about shrimp, but is there something else that?
Let's see. So if I really want to make something that's not the most healthy, but like really make a really great meal, one of the things I love to make is a Peking duck.
Okay.
So I do a lot of recipes where I'll make it a little bit healthier. So I'll make my own hoisin sauce, and I'll use a duck breast. So that's like really if I want to like feel good, and I like want to have a special celebratory meals, and I'll make the pancakes. I'll make everything from scratch. And my husband, I actually got him into cooking, so it's great to be able to cook with him. And he's like great on anything carb related. So makes amazing tortillas, makes the Peking duck pancakes. So it's great to be able to cook with him in the kitchen. But yeah, definitely the Peking duck. That for me is.
Yeah. How does it make you feel when you eat it?
Really full, and bad and good at the same time. Like, oh my God, look what I ate. But also, this was so good.
Yeah.
And also a banana bread. I've been making that a lot lately. And, I make a little bit of a healthier version with almond butter and almond flour, but it's so good. And,
bread,
I keep telling myself it's healthy, but it's really
yeah.
it's healthier, but it's not really healthy, obviously.
Oh, it's great. I love banana bread. Yeah. What's your feel good movie? You said you don't watch a lot of TV, but.
Well, yeah, I love horror movies.
Right.
So, I don't get to often watch them because my husband hates them. And, you have to really love them or hate them. So, that's something I love. If I want to feel good, I'll watch a horror movie or a really good thriller. I'm not into like comedies or romance movies,
Any specific horror movie?
Oh, there's been so many good ones. So one that I saw and actually got Zach to see too, which was really good, and he doesn't want to admit that he liked it, but he did, was Midsummer. I'm not sure if you heard of that.
I've heard mixed reviews about it.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I know there were mixed reviews, but I was like captivated the whole time. And the reason I thought it was so good, and the reason he thought it was so good, it almost felt like real, real, like this could actually happen, and this, I think in some ways does happen, not to that extent, but it felt very real. And that's when it's a really good horror movie. Like this could really happen.
Okay, I'll give it a chance. I have been wanting to see it. What's your feel good TV show?
TV show. So it's going to be probably Chopped on the Food Network. I don't have. Well, that's actually there are a couple of series that I got into. Money Heist, I loved. And,
Casa del Papel, right?
Yes. That was really good, and I loved The Queen's Gambit. So I got into some of these Netflix series that were really amazing. But I love the Food Network, and Chopped is just one of my favorite shows because it really introduces me to all these different ingredients that are really exotic ingredients that I never heard of, which I can then incorporate into my food art.
Great. Yeah.
As long as I can find them.
Yeah. Yeah. You have a great relationship with food. It's fun to see how much you enjoy it. Yeah. It's really fun.
Yeah. No, it's great.
Yeah. Finally, do you have a feel good song?
A feel good song. Let's see. I'd probably say, something by Ed Sheeran. That was what my husband and I danced to as our first dance at our wedding. And I just think he's amazing, and it's very calming voice. So probably anything by Ed Sheeran.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite song of his, or?
Oh, let me see.
Yeah.
I love the Galway Girl song, and I am embarrassed, but I forgot the name of the song we danced to, but it was really good.
You feel me now.
If I Could Be You, something like that. All his songs have similar titles, I want to say, but
yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on. This was amazing. Thank you.
No, this was awesome.
So fascinating to learn. Yeah,
I really appreciate it. I look forward to hearing the rest of your podcasts and interviews with other people.
Yeah,
and sharing this with my followers. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. All right, bye, Harley's Food Art. Bye.
You've been listening to The Very Creative Podcast with Gabriel Veiga. To find out more, go to gabrielveiga.com/podcast or find us on social media at The Very Creative Podcast. You can also watch the podcast on YouTube. Just search for The Very Creative Podcast and subscribe.